And welcome everybody to the next episode of Automate This. My name is Alex Hammerschmidt and I'm your host. And today we are talking about the future of AI in email marketing. Email marketing, as some of you may know from my YouTube channel, from my blog, from social, is what we do in Automate This, the agency or my agency, and also at heartmode.io, which is our managed Mautic hosting. So we provide managed Mautic. In case you don't know, Mautic is, at least in my opinion, still the best marketing automation platform out there. It's open source. You can run it on basically every VPS. If you have a little bit of technical knowledge, and if you don't, you can use heartmode.io to run it. The today's topic, how AI is revolutionizing email marketing and what's coming in the future, is I think it's incredibly important to still think email. And why? Because the numbers didn't change. I think the numbers didn't. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I have I think that the numbers didn't change in the last 20, 30 years. Email is still opened every day by almost everybody who has email. It's still the best platform to reach people for business inquiries and talk business. And if you have a valid email address, what people are actually opening, not like info at or office at or something. If you have the personal email of somebody, it's very likely that they will actually see what you're sharing, especially if they signed up to. So still, creating your email list, having a newsletter and so on is more important than ever. So yeah, that's at least my take on that. If you talk to a social media marketer, they will tell you, no, I don't know, Facebook or TikTok or whatever is more important. I don't think that it's more important. I think it's just another channel. And the great thing about email still is you own it. And it's the only, or one of the only channels you actually own. All the others are owned by somebody else. And you don't even get like real reach and so on. Except you buy it, of course. You can buy ads. But that's my 50 cents for that. But yeah. So that's the reason why I still think email is so important still. And it's amazing. The opportunities are amazing. What people are doing right now on our platform, on the Mautic we provide for them is just mind-blowing. And how people connect open source systems together. We ourselves, we create these N8N workflows. In case you don't know, N8N is a workflow automation tool. Also fair code, open source. So you can use it for your business if you want, or you can use their SaaS and create or basically connect everything what you can think about. It's really, you can connect all the software you want and create different workflows, combine them with AI or LLMs, and do that. And based on this, we are releasing a few workflows on the N8N creators platform. Yes, creators platform. So yeah, find the stuff in the show notes. We will link them there. So that's sorry. These are my thoughts on email. And so let's dive into the current state of email, of AI in email marketing. So how is it used today already? and what are people actually already doing, or what are companies providing. So I think there are two different, very important different things. The one thing is features that companies build, like HubSpot, Klaviyo, ActiveCampaign, Mautic, all the big providers, what they build. And then there are the marketeers who are actually using this stuff or not using this stuff. So it's these two fractions. So on one hand, like with Klaviyo, you have this AI-driven segmentation, personalization, best send times, automated email copywriting, all this stuff. So these are all these features like smart send times, when to send an email instead of just sending it at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then you have these other like super crazy features where it's called predictive analysis for email performance, where they would tell you, okay, if you send this email now, or if you're talking about this and this topic in your email, or this and this product in your email, you have possibility of sales is 75% or whatever. So I think this is all very interesting, but it's a numbers game. I mean, all marketing is a numbers game, and it's super interesting, but for most people it's irrelevant because most email lists are not big. Most email lists are very little, and the numbers game is, I think it's statistically not valid. So, or it's statistically not relevant, because the numbers are too low and too little. So this is what I mean. You have these AI features, what companies are building and what they try to use for their unique selling proposition and to sell their platforms. And then you have the features which people are actually using. So what marketers are using right now heavily is, of course, email copywriting. And it totally makes sense. I mean, copywriting is just a craft. It's not an art, even though copywriters would tell you otherwise. But it's not. It's a craft. We fired all copywriters. We don't need them anymore because AI is it's so good and it's so much better and it's so fast and it's reliable and it's on time and so on. So no need for copywriters. Sorry, copywriters, but your time is up. You need to do something else. But at least in marketing, it's just ridiculous. So what people are, or what marketers are using AI heavily is writing copy. And it totally makes sense because if you brief a copywriter, a human copywriter, it depends, how good the copy is depends on, I would say, a few things. Let's say the briefing, what the copy needs to be about, the experience of the copywriter, the knowledge of the copywriter about your niche, for example, and then of course like work ethics, like being on time and so on. So all this combined you have in each LLM, no matter which one. So you can use ChatGPT 3.5, which was the first one that was really mind-blowing. So, but you can use this one and it's way better. It's going to be so much better than each copywriter you pay because it's fast. It's like 5 seconds and you have your email or your ebook. It doesn't matter. And it's so fast. That's the one thing. And the other thing is it has so much more knowledge than each copywriter. It's impossible for a person, for a human being to gain as much insight and knowledge in order to write something. So it's just better trained than each human being. But that's a general perspective. The other thing is the briefing. So you need to understand that the copy only can be as good as a briefing is. And a briefing, if you never gave if you never worked with copywriters or freelancers, then you maybe don't know, but I guess you did. So you know that you need to brief somebody on the work this person needs to do. So you need to write it down somehow. And if you need to write it down already, there is no need to have a human being in the line. Because if you need to brief anyway, then you can just brief the LLM. It's the same thing. It's basically the same thing for you, and the LLM has more understanding and is more capable, cheaper, way cheaper. Oh my God, like 1,000 times cheaper. No, more. So much more cheaper, so much cheaper. So this is the thing what people are doing and what marketers are doing, and everybody who tells you, yeah, I can write your copy, is of course using an LLM, at least at the beginning, in order to gain ideas, structurize, proofread, and so on. And it makes sense. I mean, it's just a tool. It's like using a hammer or using a stone to hit a nail. It's just better to use the hammer. So yes, it's a tool. This is what people are doing. And then, of course, what people are doing is analytics. So after emails are sent, it totally makes sense to make the analysis with AI. So again, if you know how to prompt an LLM and give it the information it needs in order to make an analysis of your emails or your content and the performance, then it can give you back basically everything way faster and only the significant stuff. So I think there are these two different things. So the features and what people are actually doing, and what people are actually doing is very basic. It's super basic. And most features are never used. So yeah, this is the... I just need to check. Yeah. Yes. So these are the, at least my, this is my, how do I say? This is my, this is my take on these current states in AI and email marketing. I think it's there is so much more what we will see in the next years, in the upcoming years, and there will be so much features get lost and get built. So we'll just see, okay, what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, actually, because most stuff is vanity metrics still. It's if you think small, and from our statistics, I see how few emails people are sending. We have our client base, and they are sending their emails and their newsletters, and we tell them, like, send at least once a week. And very little people send once a week, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's very expensive. Having somebody making this email, writing this email, taking care of it, putting the content together, interviewing everybody, or like fetching the content from the blog and from YouTube and from the podcast and so on and so forth, and putting it out there. It's just so much. It's time consuming, it's expensive, and so on. On the other hand, if you would do it, it would just make such a great impact, because it doesn't matter if you post your email, if you send your email at noon or at midnight or at 9 o'clock in the morning. If it's just better to send one at some random time than not sending one. So that's the truth. That's the truth. You see these spikes on click-through rates and on landing page visits or online store visits and so on. You have a spike. As soon as you send an email, there is a spike, and you can clearly see that sales are going up and that inquiries are going up and so on and so forth. And of course, support questions are going up. So everything is going up. But in order to use that, you should do it on a regular basis. And that's something what's I think underrated still. A lot of people don't really understand that they have their reach within their email list. Even if there are only 100 people inside, you still have, you had these people sign up to your email list. So you need to give them something in order to work with you. And so that's the thing. What I think, if you have an email list, if you started building one, just send once a week. And of course, it's a lot of work, but you can use AI for that. So the emerging AI innovations in email marketing are manifold. There are like generative AI for fully automated email newsletters or fully automated email sequences even. But and you have then like this super crazy other stuff like hyper personalization. So like in Mautic, for example, if you use the Mautic tracking pixel, you can see where, if a person signed up and has a cookie which lives for, I think, 180 days, if the person doesn't delete their cookies from the browser. If you have this cookie in the browser, you would see each page they visited on your website, on your web store, how long and how often they visited a specific product, for example. So based on that, you can do this hyper-personalized email marketing or like omni-channel marketing. Basically, you can send push notifications or SMS or WhatsApp or email and give them more content about what they just saw or why they give them the push they need in order to finally make the order of the pair of jeans what they visited for 25 minutes in the last 3 days 7 times already. So you can do this with like capable marketing automation tools which give you the history and which give you the tracking and everything. So this is hyper personalized because you don't send it as a newsletter, but only on one person and based on what the person did. So you can do this. And this is going to become more and more and more. But before this, I think and before A/B testing and all this like super crazy stuff, which is, so I'm doing this since 2018 full time and built marketing campaigns with companies, and we tried so many different approaches of A/B testing and campaign testing and like personalization and not personalizing anything and so on and so forth. And I mean, of course, it's just what I think, but I think it actually doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. And there is a reason for that, because people, they get just blind. Everybody is using personalization and nobody cares about if the email is personalized, yes or no. That's just like nowadays, everybody says that you need to personalize. No, you don't. Actually, we don't use the first name in any email. I mean, there is this stuff out there where, your first name is the most loved word of each human being and so on. So, but I mean, it's just like, it's overused and it's creepy. If you put my first name in the newsletter subject line, I think it's just like, oh my God, it's a bad use of my name. Why would you put it in a subject line after a comma? Like, this is the most important stuff you need to see, comma, Alex. This is like, I mean, of course, I'm blinded because I'm doing stuff like this, but I think it doesn't really matter. And statistics, it just depends who wants to show what in statistics, right? So I think it doesn't really matter if you personalize an email or not. I think it's more important to send on a regular basis and give actual needed or helpful news or content out there. So it makes more sense. So what we did earlier, and what lots of companies, especially big companies, are doing, because they need to plan and they need to brief and then they need to create all this content and so forth. So what people are doing, or what companies are doing, is creating content plans. So you have your content plan for the whole year. It's mapped out, because you cannot just like sit there every week and think about, oh, what are we doing this week? It's impossible. So you have your content plan, and you created this in January, and then you are a little bit behind because the copywriter didn't write the blog post fast enough, so you couldn't publish the blog post. Then you have, like, I don't know, the social media manager from your TikTok is ill, so there are not as many videos on TikTok about a certain topic, and so on. So it gets messy. And this is the part where everybody starts to struggle. And this is happening everywhere. It doesn't matter if companies have, like, we're working with a few quite big companies, and it doesn't matter if the marketing team has 50 people on it, or 5 or 1. People are struggling with their content plans and struggling with being on schedule and putting out the stuff like it is planned. That's just that's the world. That's how it happens. And the cool thing, if you use AI or an AI agent for what is actually out there, the AI agent will never care. They will just fetch what is out there, like fetch the last 2 blog posts and fetch, like, if you say, picture this, you can nowadays, so we built this and we have an automation for this, and if you're interested, I'm very happy to share it. You say, okay, I need a system which fetches my actual news from the last week, creates a newsletter, and sends it to my email list. And a correctly briefed AI agent is doing exactly that. You give it the tools to fetch your blog. You give it the tools to fetch your products, your special offers of the week, your current coupon code, your content plan, for example. If you want to talk about a certain topic, like, I don't know, Mother's Day, then of course content plan totally makes sense, because then you have this stuff in there, like, this is the week we talk about Mother's Day, so make the newsletter about Mother's Day. And so these things, then you fetch the podcast episodes, you fetch YouTube, you fetch your social media content, which you usually cannot fetch directly from social media. It's difficult because you cannot scrape it, and there are almost no tools where you just can get your content actually. So you need to fetch it from a social media sharing app or something, or from your content plan again. So, but you fetch all this stuff and give it to the agent and say, okay, out of this, analyze what's new, analyze what fits the topic of the week, and write the newsletter, and then push it to my email program, which can be whatever. Every email program with an API can do this. So this is going to be on time, and this is going to be amazing. It's mind-blowing, and it works. And if you want to have a newsletter like this, just sign up at automatethis.pro to our newsletter. It's made like this. Of course, I proofread, and of course, I create the content plan, and I put lots of information into the content plan in order to make it as useful as possible. So it gathers the information and gives it to our readers in a very nicely written, structured manner. And it's fully automated. for me, it's the most freeing thing I ever built, because I don't need to talk to anybody about it. It's just doing what's written in the system message and how I prompt it. That's, for me, these things are going to be the real game changers in email marketing. And this is changing a lot. And as soon as you do this every week or twice a week, of course, you need to find out where would you overdo it. So don't start sending every day just because you have an automated system, because maybe your blog post is still the same from 2 weeks ago. So then you don't need to remind everybody that you have a blog post written 2 weeks ago. But if you have this news cycle and your special offers and coupon codes and blah, blah, all this stuff, then it just makes sense to remind people. If you have an online store, it totally makes sense to just send out the bestsellers of the last week. I mean, they usually change a little bit. So, and it's very easy to fetch the bestseller list. So yeah, it just makes sense. Put this out and and remind people of your store and what you're selling and doing. And this is way better than sending some random news about, I don't know, we just got new, I don't know, paper towels. Nobody cares. So yeah, I think this is the most important, at least in our company, the most important AI innovation in email marketing right now. And then, of course, you can, after this, after you created that, you can start playing around, because as soon as you have your schedule and as soon as somebody takes care of it, that it's on time, correct, personalized, of course, you can put in all your tokens and everything to use first names and last names and what they bought the last time and so on. You can use this stuff in your templates for the agent as well. But as soon as you have this, and as soon as your email is coming out on a regular basis, or your newsletter is coming out on a regular basis, you can start A/B testing, and then you can start, okay, when is the perfect time to send it, and so on. So yeah, but get the basics first. And the basic, the bottom line is having this workflow actually. And AI agents will make this possible for small companies, for startups, for freelancers, for people who don't have the possibility to talk to somebody or to proofread something from a freelancer they don't really trust or don't have 100% trust, and so on and so forth. So it's so much better to just have an agent, an AI agent doing this. And I mean, I get if I make it, if I start the workflow, I get immediately, like the workflow takes about, I don't know, 30 seconds. Then the email is finished. It's a draft inside my Mautic. And in Mautic, I can just, I get a Telegram success message or a Telegram error message if something would go wrong. It didn't happen yet, but I get a Telegram success message on my watch. And then I see, oh yeah, cool. I can take a look into it. I go in there. I have the direct link. I can go in there, read the email, and just say, okay, let's send it. And I really love that so much. It's something cool. Yeah, so the future of AI in marketing are different other prompts. So as soon as you start digging into using agents for your marketing in general, you can start, I think what the future is holding is like you can start prompting differently. So having an agent which has this basic understanding of your company, of all your products. You can have a quadrant or a vector store basically with all the information, what your company does, where it is, how your products are made, which products you have, where are the URLs and the images, and so on and so forth. And then you can start prompting differently, like with voice or video or whatever, and then just say, okay, use a video of me with this background, and create a video with this background of myself where I'm talking about this new product we have coming next week, which will be ABC. And the AI will do this for you. So I mean, this is just like, this is coming and it's already here. I can prompt the AI, the workflow with voice if I want, and it would just do it. So yeah, that's really like amazing. And of course, other things like legal stuff and so on. If you are unsure about, okay, what am I allowed to do, like GDPR? Am I GDPR compliant, or am I compliant in whatever country I am or whatever state I am? You can just ask and create a system based on these findings, because AI is going to tell you what's the current regulations. So this is amazing. And then of course you have this other stuff. If you have a platform which is not only stupidly sending emails and don't do anything else for you, if you have a platform which gives you tracking and which gives you rich customer histories, then you can of course sync it with SMS and push notifications and social media, and based on this push stuff to your contacts. So if a person is not opening, and you can use an agent for that. So you can have these smart workflows which would send an email, and the next day it would just, another workflow would just start, and then it would say, okay, did the person open this email? If yes, did the person actually click through? If no, send a push notification or whatever. So you can do this already, but the AI agent as an operator basically is going to be the core, like the core worker, if you will, which is orchestrating the different workflows and saying, okay, based on this briefing, I need to do this because this is the trigger for this workflow in order to understand if the person bought already, yes or no. And if no, why didn't the person buy, and how can I re-engage, and so on. So your AI agent can do this if you know how to prompt it. So my actionable takeaway for marketers would be to start exploring. If you aren't exploring AI agents already, start exploring them. Use N8N. It's just like, find, if you want to help me a little bit out, use the link below in the description. It's an affiliate link for N8N. So if you are going to sign up at their platform, I get a small kickback. But if you don't, it's totally fine. You can just go to n8n.io, I think, or n8n.com, and start using it, or use one of my tutorials here on my YouTube channel to learn how to set it up for yourself. It's very simple to set up and use. And yeah, just start exploring. And of course, if you don't explore, if you don't use ChatGPT or Claude or I don't know, DeepSeek, or yeah, whatever, if you don't use them already, start using them for your work. At least start using them to create copy for you. There are so many prompts out there. You don't need to buy all these prompt Bibles and blah, blah. It's unnecessary stuff. If you can think straight, just tell the AI or the LLM, like ChatGPT, just tell the chat what you want and what you want to reach and what the outcome should be. You can even put old emails in. You can just say, so for one of our clients, we have a quadrant database, a vector store, where we put in the 52 emails from last year, because this person wrote the emails like together with us, but this person proofread everything, and we put everything in, and then we filled it into this database, and now the agent reads the emails to a certain topic of the content plan from last year, and plus 2 or 3 emails more around this time of year, and writes an email in exactly the same tone of voice and exactly the same manner and so on. It's unbelievable. It's so nice. It's so nice. So you can have really cool knowledge bases which you give the agent as tool in order to understand how to write and how to do all this stuff for you. So yeah, play around with it. I think that's the most important thing. And if you don't do it, I think you will just have lots of overhead in a company. So if you're a bigger company, just tell some person. It doesn't really matter whom. Best would be some person who is interested in AI and doing something new in the company. But tell somebody you're paying already to play around with AI and solve some problem. Especially marketing. I mean, that's just how it goes. And it's just tools. I heard from a few people, not many, but a few people I was talking to, I heard like, yeah, but is it ethically? Is it ethically correct to use AI instead of a person? So yeah, of course it's correct. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, would you use a train instead of letting a person deliver the sand to your city or whatever? It's like, of course we use the tools. That's just how humans evolve. If you don't do this, and you're just left behind. That's how it happens. So yeah, will AI replace human marketers in email marketing? Of course. Of course it will. Sure. What else? I mean, there are these very arrogant. So I think of course it won't replace everything, but it will change the landscape, and it will change how we think about work in everything, basically. But of course, in marketing, it's very heavily. I mean, marketers are using AI so heavily already, and yeah, of course. And there are some people out there who think like, yeah, I can do way better design than AI. I don't think so. I think you just can't prompt AI if you do design yourself better. Yeah, but that's only my take. Of course, I could be totally wrong. But I think it will replace basically everybody who is clicking and doing, because that's just work. And computers can do this kind of work. We only need to tell them what to do. So yeah, thanks for listening. I just hit my mic. Thanks for listening. And yeah, if you didn't already, it would be great if you would subscribe to the channel, to this podcast, if you listen on Spotify. Yeah, leave a comment. I would really like to know if you are embracing AI or if you hate it, or yeah, what's your take? How you use AI? How do you use AI today in email marketing?